All right. So, welcome back to another thoughts and review. This time we're gonna do Captain America, Brave New World. I know it's been a while, but I watched it out of boredom on Disney Plus, not in theaters, but long. I'm just gonna get through it. This shit sucked. This is one of the worst Marvel movies. I know I just did Fantastic Four, but no, like if you think Fantastic Four plot is and script is bad, terribly written, this is like a whole different level. This is like to the point I'm not even enjoying watching the film, and that's the whole point of a film is to provide me entertainment. And this one just pissed me off. Like if you watch my past reviews, there are going to be a significant amount of spoilers, so just click away if you still haven't watched it and still plan to. But I'm just gonna get into it. Like I had high hopes for this film before it came out because I watched Captain America and the Winter Soldier, whatever the TV series was, and I thought that was really fun. It was a great series, and it kind of hammered home the idea of Captain America is now basically Anthony Mackie, this guy. Like he's not going to be Chris Evans anymore. He is the new one, and these are the challenges that he's facing. Basically looking up to an idol that is Captain America his entire life, and now how can he step up? That entire series was like that, and to kind of bridge the gap between a man and an idea that's supposed to be a superhuman. Um, this film had nothing to do with that. The only thing it had to do with any of the past TV show was that this is new Captain America. That's it. And maybe like the old superhero, but I'll get right into it. So basically, they kind of open up the movie like, hey, Sam Wilson, the new Captain America, is on a mission. They're trying to intercepting a like buy or something with a terrorist group led by Giancarlo Stanton, or not Giancarlo Stanton. What the fuck am I talking about? By who's that dude? Gus Fring, whoever, Giancarlo Esposito, whatever. Yeah, that dude. So they're trying to catch the buyer, but they've taken like a bunch of people hostage, and now the buyer's not showing up. So they go in there, kick some ass, and then this dude called Sidewinder, whatever, he runs away. Um, After the mission, he gets invited to the White House by who's this dude? Uh, Thaddeus Ross, the general, whatever. Now he's now the president. So he gets invited to the White House to kind of like probably talk to him about something. So he has this new sidekick, the new Falcon. He brings him, and then he brings Isaiah Bradley, who's supposed to be he was supposed to be the new Captain America. He was introduced in the series, but basically he got imprisoned instead, and now he's freed. He's trying to honor him, blah blah blah. So they go to the White House, and Harrison Ford, the new Thunderbolt Ross, whatever, he wants to have Captain America, the new Captain America, form a new Avengers squad. And then he's like, oh, okay, I'll think about it. And then they're in the middle of a meeting with all these countries, basically. If you don't watch the Eternals, basically the body of a celestial, a giant god, contains adamantium. I thought this was a really interesting way to introduce adamantium into the Marvel universe, because they've been really focused on vibranium. So basically it's this new rare earth metal rare metal that virtually indestructible, and everyone wants their hand on it. So Harrison Ford is trying to like introduce a plan, and then music comes on, and then Isaiah Bradley just starts going on a rampage. Like he tries to kill Harrison Ford. He runs away and he suddenly snaps out of it. He's like, "Oh my god, Sam, what'd I do? I don't want to go back in the can." And he's like, "Oh, I'll figure it out. I'll talk to some Thunderbolt Ross. I'll talk to Harrison Ford." And then he's like, "Yo, this dude's a hero. He shouldn't be locked up like that. Let me in on the investigation." And then all of a sudden, Harrison Ford just backs out of his deal. He's like, "No, you rejected my offer to be the new Captain America for this new Avengers. And since you didn't give me a prompt answer, you're now my enemy, and you're gonna be thrown out of the White House. You're now my enemy." I'm like, what the fuck, dude? You want to establish good relationship, and then within like 1 hour you change your mind. Like, what? What kind of like reasoning is that? That's just a sign of terrible writing. Now, okay, like, you can kind of tell where it's gonna go at this point. You just don't know where all the pieces are gonna fit. So, obviously he's like, "Oh, I'll figure it myself." Um, they do some mumbo jumbo. They track something down. This is how convoluted and bad it was. It's because I don't remember anything. Like how they tracked it, how we got to this point. I don't remember any of it. They do some mumbo jumbo. They end up at the satellite dish for some reason. And then like I forgot to mention that they introduced a former Black Widow that basically has nothing to do with the story. They just introduced her because I think they just needed to like a replacement for Scarlett Johansson or something. So anyways, they end up at this I don't know, secret facility, and this malformed dude ends up walking out and he was like, "I want to kill Ross or ruin his image or something." And then all at the same time, for some reason, France, India, and Japan are about to back out of this agreement to share the adamantium with the US. I don't know what kind of fucking politics are behind this, but guys, these are all US allies in real life. And there's a part in the film where they even emphasize that. So why this is again manufactured beef. They probably just didn't want to use China for political reasons. They want to use China so that they can actually release this in China and, get some more money that way. This is terribly written. Whenever politics get in the way, everything gets worse. So I'm not going to get too into that, but that part does not make sense at all. Okay. Now back to the plot. At some point, Sidewinder, the forgettable villain, tries to kill Captain America, and then after they meet the malformed dude in the secret lair, they're like, "Let's get some more information on this dude." Dude, I don't even know if I'm going through the plot right anymore, but basically that's the end of his role. They teased Giancarlo Esposito, whatever, to be a pretty significant part of the film, but in the end, he doesn't have a big role. Okay. And then they end up contacting the Navy SEALs, be like, "Yo, we found these pills in the secret lair. You do some research on it." And then, at the same time, they're trying to defuse the situation with Japan. Japan's about to like attack and go all out war. Meanwhile, you see like the president, he's losing his temper or something. You can kind of see where this is building up to. But somehow Captain America and his sidekick are able to defuse the situation, but not before the Falcon gets severely injured and has to get hospitalized. So, now everything's kind of like at a standstill. Japan's no longer feuding right now. The US is kind of holding still. They halted, they stopped like things from escalating, and now the president's going to go into a press conference, and then he finds out, or I'm sorry, to backtrack, like Navy SEAL dude gets a call from the lab. He's like, "Yo, these pills, they're made to like increase gamma exposure or some shit. He's like, oh shit, let me call you back. And then the malformed dude walks out and was like, I can't let you do that. And then he he just fucking kills him right there after like um doing some high frequency sound or some shit. Guys, this is supposed to be a fucking Navy SEAL facility. So I'm assuming it's supposed to be highly secure and highly classified. How the fuck did this random ass, like malformed guy just, find it, kill the dude, kill a Navy SEAL, by the way, and just walk away without anybody noticing? I just saw this dude going through a training simulation with other Navy SEALs. Where the fuck were they? That part really pissed me off. So, anyways, you find out that this is made to increase gamma exposure. And he then shows up next to Captain America and be like, haha, you thought you fooled my plot, but really I have a backup plan. And then Sam Wilson's like, it's the pills in it. Don't worry. We got some people on it. And then he's like, dead. That guy's dead now. And he's like, oh shit, I gotta go now. And dude, this is so fucking dumb at this point. And then Harrison Ford, he's in a press conference, he gets mad, and then he turns into a Red Hulk. Okay? And then Captain America comes in, he gets his ass beat, he goes to like some cherry blossom place that apparently Harrison Ford and his daughter like to go to, try to snap him out of his senses. It doesn't work, he still gets his ass beat. And then finally, Red Hulk gets tired. Sam Wilson's talking to him, and then he resizes down to regular dude, and that's pretty much the end of the story. Post credit, I don't know, like you have Sam Wilson. He freed Isaiah, the dude who tried to assassinate Harrison Ford, and he's like, "Thank you." He talks to Falcon in the hospital, and then post credit scene, it's the malformed dude talking about some ominous shit. I don't even know. And that's the end of the story. Words cannot really describe how angry I was through this film, because it's kind of like a heist film where you're kind of assuming the audience doesn't know what's going on because, they did some triple cross or whatever. And they're kind of assuming that the audience is too dumb to understand the plots and reveals. So basically, after each plot point, they have Anthony Mackie explaining, it's like, you did this and then you did that, huh? That is so fucking dumb. If you have to explain the plot to me, this is not a good film or script or well-written dialogue. None of it. I should be able to interpret the plots and what the writers are going for just by watching the film and its actions, not through the dialogue and explaining it to me. That is just a sign of a weak film, weak script, weak dialogue, weak everything. The visuals, it's what I expect out of Marvel. CGI is fine. I don't think Red Hulk looked that good in CGI, and they probably ran out of budget at some point because they didn't even show him downsized back to regular. So, yeah, there's a lot of gripes. I don't know if I have the time to go through them. My main one is the dialogue's terrible. As I said earlier, the characters ended up not mattering besides maybe Captain America and the President. They introduced way too many characters at once. You can't even keep track of them, and and then when they show up, you're like, oh yeah, I remember that guy. And I can't even forget like the connection between the bad guy and the President, because the President made the deal with the malformed dude that like, oh, I'll give you a pardon if you just save my life. And then he backtracks on that deal, and then now this guy has a vendetta against him. That's a pretty weak link. They didn't really build up to it at all. Yeah, they kind of just revealed that on a whim. Sidewinder, that guy was useless. Malformed dude, he was supposed to be like the main bad guy, but forgettable. Black Widow, she wasn't. She could have been deleted and nobody would have cared. Uh, Falcon, he was in maybe a few action scenes, but also irrelevant. Yeah, in the end, it was just Captain America and Harrison Ford. And to be honest, I wasn't really rooting for anyone. They didn't build an emotional connection to any. They didn't make me build an emotional connection to any of them. I'd be like, no, you're wrong. You should have done that or whatever. Like it's in the end, it was just apathy for me. Like I just want this movie to end. That's it. Um, yeah, that's pretty much the whole plot. My review, dude, I'm gonna have to give it like a 3 or 4 out of 10. Like it's that bad. I don't even want to watch it again. I don't want to think about it again. And they've ingrained this into the MCU canon. This or whatever. This is like just a terrible, forgettable film that should have never gone out of the writing room. They did Anthony Mackie dirty by handing him the reins of Captain America and forcing him to act in this terrible, terrible film. Words I cannot describe how much I hated this. It had I think every single Marvel film has potential, but they always come down to the same predictable formula. And this one was definitely that, and it was below their standards as well. And that's saying a lot because their standard is very low. It's a superhero film. And to make that something that I hated is actually an achievement. So, yeah, words cannot really describe like how much I really hated this film. 3 or 4 out of 10 is, I think, me being nice about it. So, yeah, those are my thoughts. If you disagree with me, watch the film. Let me know. If I missed anything, also let me know. But those are my thoughts about Captain America